kind of the beginning of the process.
So your frames, this is so cool here because you've got the frames and then you start seeing the evolution of the building process. It all happens right here. So you have your frame, and I'm assuming this is where the tanks go in, wiring, all the bulk of the main
yes,
wiring
actually, so the frame comes in this door right over here. The axles will get attached. You get flipped over. We'll put the bottom coroplast or the bottom underbelly on. It'll get rolled up to this position right here that we're standing in. Okay. They'll actually get the floor. The floor will go on here in a little bit, but this is where you see all the different wires, all the different assemblies that we'll start doing. So as production line comes out, the schedule say, hey, we're building these type of coaches. So our guys know that this is the kind of wire bundles they need, and you'll see them when we. So they'll start pulling all that wire off, bundling it up, and start distributing it through the frame. And as you go over here, you can see that they start running the wire through, start placing the tanks, start placing anything that they can place before it goes to the next area. So right now, you can see in this particular model, you have a gray and a black tank up here. You have a gray tank right here and the fresh tank back there. So you can see that there's these rails right here are screwed in here and hold the tanks on a lip, and then there's steel straps over the top of them. So they hold in there. They're not gonna come out.
You don't have to worry about when you're driving full.
Well, that's the intent. You know, if something was loose, you know, from the production process, you know, we're all human, but the goal obviously is to do it right the first time, which is what we do. And they're put in here with bolts or screws into the frame. So these tanks sit in here and they're not really going anywhere. Now, like any of these tanks, they will bulge a little bit. Mm-hmm. So you can see this is a black tank. We know that because it's got the fresh water, the rinse right here. So that's a gray tank. And this would be the gray tank for the island and the sink right here. And then down here you have the fresh tank. And it's also sitting on, actually this one sits on actual rails on the frame. And then it gets a cage strapped on the top before the floor goes on. So this fresh tank's not coming out either.
So you can kind of see the process as you move forward. So then the floor goes on. Mm-hmm. And you're installing the shower, it looks like over there.
Yeah, any little piece that doesn't require, say, an additional application. So if I can install a wall that doesn't have I don't need to run electricity up through for it starts coming up. You can see kind of how it'll start building sections before the wall goes on. And then you can see here the underbelly, you got the wires going through. We're, try to be good stewards of putting this stuff in right, You see the whole frame process. We just keep walking down the line. Each of these stations has really something else that's occurring, right? So the floors get built over here, and then the linoleum gets put on this roll, and then the floor will get hoisted over. Really, in this spot right here, you see the hoist, and it'll get dropped on, and then they'll start attaching this floor down and then putting in the holes wherever like the kitchen island, things like that gets put in, and then they'll start putting things on, whatever they can put on. They'll start doing that.
That's pretty wild how it's just like, all right, next step.
Right, and we'll usually do a run of probably 5 to say maybe 10 of a similar model, kind of the guys get in the groove, right? Sure. And behind me over here, you see kind of the plumbing, some of the plumbing areas. So you got hot water heaters, the floor pans for some of the showers. So they're fiberglass. You got a lip on them, so when the side panel walls go in, this I believe is for a Paradigm. Based on what they're making, here's like kits built already up for. Oh, nice. They look in the production schedule and say, hey, what are we going to do? So they can quickly move this stuff over into the production line. You got furnaces ready to go. So HVAC, plumbing, typically associated with each other. That stuff starts getting placed in the coach, and sometimes just sat in place, and someone else is starting to hook those things up as you go down the line. And each station, they'll sit here roughly, say 40 minutes or so at each station. Then it gets pushed to the next station. So
these are on wheels.
Yeah. So they're just on these dollies here, and when it's ready to roll, what if you guys just give it a push and just push it down the line.
You're so strong. Yeah, that's definitely.
So over here here's from our lamination plant.
Okay.
Come in this door, receiving based on what's getting produced that day.
We build the slide in the unit, gives more structure to the unit until it gets to the plant. Once it gets to the plant, they'll set the whole wall on the frame. Once they've got it set, everything's squared where it's got to be, they go through and cut the 4 corners that we don't route. They cut those, and then they pull the plug wall itself out. And then that goes to box build. That's where they assemble the end walls, the roof, the floor, everything that pertains to the box. And then it gets put in farther down the line, gets put back into the unit.
Yep. So you're getting the wall that goes with that wall.
Yeah.
In that slide.
Yep. Every step we have through the process, the wall is squared, the opening is squared, and the slide out itself is squared.
Pretty much all these are avenues, looks like.
Yeah, these over here, these are plant 2, that's a 385.
Yep. These are basically the ones we just saw made.
Right. That's kind of the finished product for us.
And you can see the wood core down here for the screws to go where we're setting the walls.
All the avenue slide out roofs we laminate over here. Paradigms and Valors get built at the plant.
Okay.
Them are the only ones we laminate. We got the rear walls of the unit. Those are built the same as our wall process.
Okay.
Glass, Asdel, part, and then the decor.
Now the tops of these, the slide roof, is it Asdel on top or is it Luan in the bottom?
No, the roofs we don't use Asdel on.
Okay.
It's a basic raw Luan for the bottom of the roof. And then the white that you see, that's the ceiling that you see from inside of the unit.
But when you flip it over, it's got the same roof material that goes on the roof is going on the tops of these. It gets sealed up, so that's why it necessarily don't have to be Asdel. Just like when we do the roof process, it's 3/8 inch, wood across the top, across the trusses, and then it's the PVC roof that goes over top. Same that goes on top of the slide walls.
That makes sense. Did they have to put that on there for you?
Yeah.
5-speed max.
I whip it around.
Don't be pushing them too fast.
So you got the overhead crane, the dollies for the sidewall. They'll put them on here, put them in place, screw them down. You saw the wood that was in there, right? That's where these will get screwed through the wood through here to the frame.
Those are like lags.
Yep. Big old ones here. So the walls, the back wall gets put on in this station here. So you see the back walls are ready to go from lamination. You see they start to set in, the different pieces. Water heater, start to run the ducts. Constantly tweaking that, make sure that things are as efficient as possible. You can see what's on the back side of the walls.
Not a lot.
No, not a lot. Well, weight's important, right?
Yeah.
We like to lose it. We can obviously see components starting to really take shape here. They build all this cabinetry behind us, and then they'll start placing that in the cap. And then as we go over to this next station, we got these railings. They can start doing a lot more work on top to where the roof is going to be sat in at this station here. You can see we have a roof in there now. And it comes in as one piece. Lift it up. We build it up on the mezzanine up there with the trusses and everything. And then it gets placed in here and it's attached.
So it starts there, and by the time you get down there, it's done. It's a very, very efficient warehouse here. So everything's being built here.
You want to go up on the mezzanine?
Oh, how cool is that?
So you can see over there where they build the roof, the trusses. It comes in this way, gets laid on. And then they'll start putting all the pieces in, start wiring as it goes down.
Yeah, a lot of thought had to have gone into all this. That part fascinates me. When you're trying to figure out how to have a frame there and a completed rig there, all the different steps and how to get it compact and make it easy to where they can just grab some wire, pull it right across just by walking along a magic lift. That's pretty wild.
It's all about efficiencies. This is just like a car plant or anything else, but efficiencies, and I don't have to walk that far to get what I need.
Doing it this way makes sure that it's correct. All the wire that they need is there. All the wire they need is there. They just pull it across. There's no walking up and down ladders and trying to figure things out.
Absolutely. It does help to be efficient, and so they can get the coaches through in a day.
And the ductwork is pinched off at the end. It's confirmed. You don't have to take your flashlight and thing and look up in there. That's one of the things we teach at the school, is to make sure, because some manufacturers may have missed that process, and what happens is that duct just ends up venting out into the cap.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is taped off. Now you can really start to see it take shape here. This position right here where it says 14, that's where the wood will get put on over the truss, and then gets tightened up. They'll put the batting on the cap, and over here at this station is where they will attach the PVC roof and put the components on. That guy's getting paint. Looks like he has Solar Plus on there. He's got 3 panels in the factory. And all the air conditioners, they're up there on that mezzanine. All the Dicor, all those barrels, that is all self-leveling lap sealant from Dicor.
Wow.
With a spray gun.
That's why there's always so much of it. It's a never-ending tube.
It is a never-ending tube. So you can see as the coaches get final assembly on the end there, and then they'll go out the door and then to PDI. Take those walls, the side walls and everything from what we saw in lamination, and they'll build these boxes and put the items that go in them in here. So here's the kitchen slide probably for this model right here.
Oh wow.
So it's got the refrigerator, it's got the range in it already, and everything's ready to go inside. And then you get tweaked as they place it in. They'll use a forklift or something like that to place it and attach it to the rail system. So this one obviously probably gets a theater seating, because you got 120 and 12 volt. So the Valor, this is going into Valor, because Valors get their theater seating are 12 volt.
Oh, that's right, because it has the electronics.
Masters of 12 volt. Different appliances are back here. We have ranges, the microwaves, as they come in.
Furniture.
Yep, all the different pieces of furniture. So we have receiving is over on this side, and they'll bring it all in here and stage it for that day's production. And as it comes in, it goes out, and then they'll bring in the next batch.
So you're not pumping out a fifth wheel in a day. This takes a little bit of time. Yeah,
so we will produce and build, like, say 8 or 10 in a day. But what happens is it's really kind of a 3-day process from when you start to, like, hey, put the build list together, bring the frame, staging all the pieces, things like that. Now the actual assembly, for the majority of the assembly, that will happen in a shift, right? But then it still has to go through the PDI process, things like that.
But I'm talking about from the time we saw that raw aluminum.
Oh no.
This is a process.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's all these plants that are building all the parts needed to put it together.
Yes.
But it's like once you have all the parts, sure, it shouldn't be too difficult.
Right. It's like you plan the big event, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, there's just a short period of time for the execution part.
Right.
So the execution part occurs during a shift, and we'll produce, whatever's on that schedule today, and then it just repeats the next opportunity. So, but yes, it is at least a couple weeks, from when you take the order to you start ordering all the stuff that we need for that one, seeing what we have. So yeah, you're not just like, let's say, cranking them out, so to speak. So
yeah, it depends on the how many orange little flags are hanging from it too. Huh?
yeah. I mean, and that varies based on how the crew's doing that day, and we, like I said, we strive for perfection every time, but things do happen. Things can get dropped, or
there's so many parts and pieces. It's really hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, it's building this combination of a vehicle and a house. So it kind of looks like a house building site in here when it's actually happening. So My experience of seeing it for the first time, it's like, wow, there's just a lot. But it's a pretty choreographed, process, and it's pretty impressive to watch. There's a lot of people moving around pretty quick, but they're going around with purpose. Yeah, with purpose.
That's what I was impressed with. Everything here seems to have a purpose.
Yes.
Every single station, you're going to knock this out. And then how easy it is can you just push that RV now that it's...
Yeah, about 3 or 4 people. They said they'll yell that it's roll time, and they'll just push it over and get it in the next spot. So.
Well, it gets up to about 9,000 pounds. It gets a little harder to push.
Yeah. So we usually get one person on this end, that end, and a couple in the middle, and it's like roll and just.
Yeah. All right. So what's this more ride thing? Is that the hydraulics for the?
No, this is an onboard air compressor.
What?
On the toy haulers, they all come standard
Oh,
with
okay, that's right.
Yeah, onboard air compressor.
And these have gas tanks too for your toys, right?
Yes, dual gas tanks. One for the generator, one for the toys, and you can use both actually for the generator if you need to. So Tony, now we're here in the PDI Bay Plant 1. Okay. So this is after they come through the production in the plant. They'll roll in here. They'll start getting there, kind of like those last minute fit and finish. Anything that was missing, maybe they didn't have a certain part when it came down the line. It'll get finished off in this bay before it goes to the shipping row. So this is kind of the last place where they get that looked over. They get a lot of testing here. If they got a generator, just put one in right here. This is where they get installed. So graphics, anything that got nicked, dinged in the process.
I see. This one is completely bare.
Yep.
So they're going to put all the graphics on here.
So this is probably getting paint.
Oh.
So the ones that are coming in, these are Valors. So when they are ordered with full body paint, they come in through here without some of the trim-ons, without some of the other pieces, so they can go over to the painters to get painted. Then we bring them back and finish them off after that. So one was obviously with the graphics, one without over here. So, but this is kind of where it all happens. The team's doing tweaking little pieces to things right now. So it's kind of where it happens.
Ready? There you go. Okay. Hey, it's Tony with National RV Training Academy, and I got Rob Boria here. I can't talk right now. Unique New York. Unique New York.